Oh yeah! What up? What up? What up? Nothing but some out fuck from the front seat. Died on this ride TV. Oh, we got a hot one for you today. We got one of our Regs coming back. Christy T. Rollins, holistic restoration healer. And we're gonna be talking about the summer solstice and how we gotta keep the light working, spread the love, spread the peace, spread the harmony. Let's dive in, deep dive into the pool. Are you all ready? North Carolina, where you at? South Carolina, come on! New York City, Bayshore, Staten Island, woo, Jersey, you heard? Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Let's get with it, Delaware. Are you aware? Pennsylvania, my favorite people up there, coming up there with Uncle Joe Santiago in August, and we're going to turn the mother out with FanDuel, yo. Oh, shout out Detroit, shout out Minneapolis, what up, what up, what up? Shout out Chicago, Illinois, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida. I love you, Louisiana. How y'all doing in Texas? I know y'all are hot down there, right? We got you, man. Shout out to Canada with those fires, man. Come on, come on. We got to put that shit out. I need everybody in Ohio, Brenda, Boosie, and Patty, clap your hands. Oh, the Funk Squad from Dayton, Ohio, David Webb. Come on, y'all. Get with it. Say ho. Funk from the front seat. 9 on the grind. Heat, please. California, where you at? Hawaii. Oh, Samoans doing the Humpty Hump. Humpty Hump. Come on, Washington State. Come on, Nevada. All around the world. Pupulo in Peru, y'all. What up? What up? Clap your hands. Dubai, Africa. Cocalino in Italy. DJ Elizabeth in Ireland. Danny Stolz in Germany. Australian Wendy, how you doing? What's up? What's up? Down under me? Puerto Rico, Colombia, how you doing? Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Haiti, Haitian, Jamaican, we got you all covered. Also around the world for the funk. Oh, I'm hyped today. My funketeer sister, my funketeer sister, Sister T. Rollins is in the front seat with me today. And we're going to be chopping it up as we always do. She's bringing the smoke, y'all, so pay attention. You can afford free speech. Funk from the front seat is upon you. Yes, yes, yes. Right now, we're going to bring in my funk sister, Chrissy T. Rollins. What up? What up? What up? What up? How are you?
Thanks for having me back again. Doing fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, man. That's good. You and your family okay? Everybody good?
We are. We're just, flowing right along.
Yeah.
Going with whatever comes our way because we haven't figured out any other way to go about it.
Yeah, man. We've had a lot of stuff happen since we last touched base, and it's all good because one of my favorite sayings that I borrow from you is this is the planet where the chaos happens. And I keep that in the back of my head sometimes, because it's just amazing how much as Bob Marley would say, the Babylonians have put us in some kind of place to where, we should not be like at each other's throats as much as we are because we're basically following their pattern and their blueprint, and that's why we're going to get in today about the summer solstice and stepping into the light because our fans and folks and fans of yours and people around the world, they really need to hear your message. So first, give us a little background on who you are and kind of like what you do.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm Chrissy Key Rollins. I am the owner of a holistic wellness practice called Holistic Restoration. I have been in this realm doing this business. It'll be 17 years at the end of this year. So this has been a conversation that I've dove deep into. I have explored thoroughly, not only for myself, but for hundreds of people that I have worked with throughout the years. And the whole focus of everything that I bring to the table is to help to shift your perspective and how you view and relate to yourself. And in doing that, you can then begin to shift how you relate to everything else that's around you. The people
Amen.
that you live with, the food that you eat throughout your day, how you move your body throughout the day, how you tend to take care of yourself, how you tend to take care of others, how you tend to and take care of those and that which is around you. And ultimately, the end game for me is to help you to better understand who you are, what this human experience is all about, your place within it, and highlighting all along the way practical, tangible steps that you can take and integrate, perspectives that you can integrate into your life so that you can be in this place where the chaos happens, but not lose yourself amongst the chaos and really understand a bigger perspective, again, of who you are and this world that we interact with, so that you don't have to be so deeply and negatively impacted by the deeply negative things that are happening around you. Again, be it in your household, be it within your own mind, be it whenever you interact with social media or mainstream media or get into conversations with other people. Any of those things that are knocking you off kilter, I help to show you how to build that foundation within you so that no matter what comes your way, you don't lose your footing, you don't lose your ground, you don't lose who you are. And in that space, you can allow yourself to be whole and complete, come into your fulfillment, be more authentically expressed in the world, and hold the space for others to do the same. So we can actually actualize some of these visions that we have and some of these desires that we have here within our society that is outside of the chaos and all of the turmoil, but just kind of being affected by it. And I like to use a lot of words. So if you haven't noticed that yet, I use a lot of words to help to guide the way.
Hey, the words you say are important because you're a queen and you're a leader out here in the light working community, and this planet is in a better place with your spirit coming through this dimension. So that's a beautiful thing, man. It's like, you've done miracles for me. So I can't even thank you enough for how you've put me in a different mindset. The summer solstice, we hear it, maybe people don't quite understand how the universe and, all that stuff works. In conjunction with the universe, us being part of that, stardust, DNA, energy, light, we are connected. And can you explain a little bit about why we need to pay attention to things like the summer solstice?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a timely conversation because I feel that this is the shift that we've been experiencing for the past few years and that we're going to continue to experience as we continue to evolve as a society, as a collective humanity. So when we talk about this world and we talk about the things that are happening in our world, we talk about our physical experiences, all of that's here in the 3D form shaped physical world, all of that is a masculine expression of energy. So all that we interact with, the landscape that we see when we look out our window and around our room, when we interact with society, all of that's happening in the 3D realm. It's three-dimensional. This should not be a surprise to anybody who's hearing this. So that is the masculine expression of the energy that creates the things that we interact with, the people that we interact with, this physical world. However, that is not all to the story. Just like you're not just the physical outward expression of yourself, you also have an internal part. And beyond the organs that you have going on inside your body that we can't see, we also have our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. So we have this energetic, this unseen, this non-physical aspect of ourself that gets portrayed and brought out into the physical through our physical form. So just like we have our masculine energy displayed in physical form, we have our feminine energy as the aspects of us that can't be seen, that cannot be observed by the senses, except for the one that it is, right? So we have our masculine external self, we have our feminine internal self. All of us, no matter if you're male gendered, female gendered, however you identify, if you have a physical body and a thought going through your mind, you got a physical self and a feminine self, or excuse me, a masculine self and a feminine self. Those energies get expressed through the culmination of all that we display in our form. So when we go through life only dealing with the masculine, when we're only judging it by how it looks, how it sounds, how it appears to be, we can run into a lot of issues. This we can see very clearly whenever we are dealing like with race. If you come into a person who look into contact with someone from another culture that looks physically different, we know the fallacies that can happen if you are to make all the presumptions of everything that is possibly making up this one person by that outside appearance. We can't do it. But yet we walk around our lives day to day, taking in this data, taking in this physical landscape, and then we have our feminine self that processes all the information and data based on what we've been told and what our past experience has been. The problem is that just like with race, I'm going to just use that because it's such a hot topic these days. And I think that this is like the part that's missing from a lot of the dividing conversations whenever we're looking at the physical outside. We see it with race, we see it with political views, we see it with religious views. There's any way that we start to divide and separate out because of how things appear on the outside, we are not honoring or taking into consideration at all times
That's right.
the physical non-seen aspects that make up that physical display. And
Right.
anybody who has taken the time to sit down and talk to somebody who looks different from them, speaks different from them, has a different religious belief, you'll probably find you got a lot more in common than what it appears on the outside or what data you've collected on the
Yep.
outside.
That's right.
So if we continue to move forward with the perceptions that we have and never question the narrative that is running through the background of our decision making and our data computing and analyzing and processing, then we actually end up locking ourselves into one way of thinking, one way of experiencing the world. And I feel like societally speaking, that's kind of like where we're at right now. We have computed all the physical data. We have based everything on the outside. We're judging everything by these appearances. And as we can see, that is not a stable way to be because it doesn't honor the fullness of what's happening. It doesn't honor the fullness of the individual. It doesn't honor the fullness of the situation, regardless of what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah. Do you think our ancestors, and I'm talking, say maybe, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 700 years ago, basically tribes were being formed, land masses had changed. People, say, 1,000 years ago, 2,000, were starting to travel from one continent to another, et cetera, right? Do you think we are still connected to them in a DNA kind of way to where, to me, I wasn't there, but it seems to me they wouldn't have had the issues that we are dealing with right now when it comes to working together, it seems. Because, when you look at tribes, no matter who they are, they may have their different wars, but within them, they seem to work together. And what we have done as a United States tribe is divided ourselves into 51 little mini corporations, and none of us are doing the same thing. We're spinning our wheels. It's almost like, one guy puts on the wheel, then it goes up the assembly line, the other guy takes off the wheel. It's like, doesn't make any sense. And at some point, Christy, we have to figure, even by accident, a broken clock is right twice a day. We have to wake up. You said something, and I wanted to ask you, how do you know when to use the different energies, the feminine, the masculine? Is it just instinct, or do we have to key in on it?
Well, if you can picture in your mind that yin yang symbol with the black and the white swirled together,
Right.
That is an actual depiction of the balance of the masculine and the feminine. You can't have all feminine without there being a touch of masculine, because how do you know something's happening unless something's there to engage with it? You can't have all masculine without the feminine, because where did that form come from?
Yeah.
And when those two energies are balanced, we have harmony, we have flow, we have reciprocity. And when those are out of balance, that's where things start to get a little bit too pressing in the physical, or a little too wrapped up in the non-physical and not really taking action in the physical. So I believe that our goal overall, or at least something that I offer up for consideration and further conversation, is that perhaps that's what our pursuit is. It's not which one do we choose, but how do we honor both at all times? then we're allowed to engage with someone who's of a physical form, displaying themselves in a physical way, using a particular tone of voice, using a particular volume, and actually fill in the rest of the story that isn't being seen. So I propose that a lot of times that we have communication issues, more so because of what's not being said than because of what is being said.
Yeah.
So what I've developed for myself, and I find very helpful in my own life to help to manage overwhelm and to find that balance and keep that flow and that harmony. And I find to be pretty universal for anybody who's willing to give it a shot, is that when I am confronted with something in the physical that I'm not really vibing with, then instead of looking to separate, divide, conquer, right, wrong, my way out of the situation or through the situation, I look to bring in what isn't being said, what isn't being represented, what's a bigger truth that I know.
Yeah.
So this is especially helpful whenever you're dealing with a family member who expresses themselves in a way that you find challenging. Family members are a great example of that physical element that we can't control. It's a great example of how two people can be in the same room at the same time and have completely different experiences, different accounts, different memories, how different words sound differently and have different meanings to different people. So with all of this, we're all walking around like our own individual species, we could say.
Yeah.
Trying to interact with one another. And we're really, like, when you start to look at this, when I dove really deep into it, it's amazing that we're doing as well as we are.
You're right. You're right.
It's amazing that we are doing as well as we are. And I believe that ultimately on this realm, there's always a balance of the masculine and the feminine. So if you're seeing a lot of out of balance in the masculine, then you connect to what you think's missing in the feminine and you bring it in. Not only will it change your experience, but it will change the way that you engage with everything that's in the physical, which then again will have that ripple effect or that domino effect. And then you change everybody's experience along the way. And that's when we start to really tap into the power that we have access to on this realm that we never will know if we continue to get distracted and caught up in battling the right, the wrong, all the divisions that's made with the physical.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the family member who presents themselves in a way that you find challenging. A lot of us label these as toxic family members, negative family members. The trendy thing in our society is to cut them off, not let them in your life. You choose your family now. You decide to surround yourself with people who think and act and talk and agree with everything that you feel is right. And you start to see why this gets to be a slippery slope when we take that path.
That's right. That's right. We
Because
always want to hear that.
When you decide that somebody is the splintered up version of themselves that steps forward when they perceive a need to preserve and survive, then you are locking them into that experience. You are locking yourself into that experience of them. And you are going to stop yourself from receiving everything else that that person can bring to the table.
Right.
It's us that decides what we receive. It's us that decides how much is really going on in any given situation. So the next time that that negative family member presents themselves, I invite you to consider taking a step back and filling in the rest of the story that they didn't bring to the table. Here's an easy example. Say that you're the dishwasher of the house, and that toxic family member says, you missed a spot when you wash this dish. What do? Wash in the dark? Do you not look at what you're doing? Now, you know that you've washed every dish that's in that house every day. And they brought you one dish in 4 months' time, right? You want, what about all the dishes that I washed that were clean? What if you think that you can do a better job? How about you wash the dishes? Right? Common response, common reaction, right? We don't really like that. They brought to you a flaw, a problem. Now, I used to react very defensively when this got brought to me. First of all, why are you even bringing it to my attention? Like, just set it to the side and I'll wash it again. Secondly, I never claimed that I'm going to do everything perfect and flawless 100% of the time. Third of all, if you think you can do a better job, then why don't you step over there and do it? Fourth of all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just started this ripple effect of, not once did I think that that negative person was genuinely curious and supportive and wanting to help me to solve a problem so that I wouldn't have to deal with it in the future. Did you ever stop to consider that? Little Miss Defensive Chrissy? No, I never thought to consider that because I was used to defending and deflecting, not allowing and receiving.
That's a good word right there. Defending and deflecting, not allowing and receiving. I really like that quote. I'm going to use that a lot because that says a lot. We're hanging out today, Funk from the Front Seat with Chrissy Key Rollins. My producer, Mr. Markley, is on a much-needed vacation, but he'll be back next week. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV, every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chrissy is one of our regulars. She comes on dropping knowledge. Say that one more time for me so our audience can really understand what you just said.
You're doing one of two things in any moment. You're either deflecting and defending, or you're allowing and you're receiving.
Yeah. See, I love that. I'm writing that down because I think a lot of times, I know me, myself, I'm very defensive. I don't know if it's the creative side of me, but I'm like always like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's something I'm learning how to deal with.
So I decided to experiment with this and bring in the rest of the story that wasn't getting brought. If I wanted recognition over all the dishes that I washed well, if I wanted to experience it differently, they didn't. I'm giving away all my secrets of who.
Yeah, I was going to say, right.
We all have that person.
Yes, we do.
I just have mine assigned as my life partner because really that's the only thing that will help me to develop. Because if I was just surrounded by people that are as lovely towards me as Zach is all the time and singing my praises, I would never develop forward. But because I have someone that cares so much about me and sees my wholeness more than I recognized for years, I thought whenever it wasn't all mentioned at the same time, that was evidence he didn't see it at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm the one who's not seeing it. I'm the one who's not connected to it. If I know that I wash every dish like the biggest, baddest dishwasher they could ever be, and occasionally make a mistake, then who cares if he shows me that I made a mistake? Great, thanks. I can move on. I don't have to defend. I don't have to deflect. I can remind myself. I can even say out loud the part that wasn't said. Good thing I watched all the rest of them as well as I do. Could you imagine how many times you'd be bringing me over plates if I really did wash them in the dark and didn't look what I was doing? You know,
I love the watching in the dark analogy.
Right. Exactly. What are you doing? Washing in the dark? Like he's genuinely trying to help me to not have this problem. Now, one could argue he's trying to eliminate from his life too. Who cares? This isn't about him. He's not the one that's triggered by it.
Yeah.
I am. I'm the one who's feeling the need to defend, deflect, push away. How dare you? And instead, I started bringing in the rest of the story. I started filling in the gaps that other people left out. And I started to realize when I add the story to it, their delivery makes a lot more sense. Yeah. It has more to do with their uncertainty, their insecurity, their questioning how they go about life by asking you how you're going about it. They're questioning themselves. That energy gets jumbled up with the words that come out. And that vibration of uncertainty is going to find the uncertainty in you and it's going to bring it right up to the surface. And you're going to be like, how dare you? How dare you make me recognize that I am insecure with myself? How dare you make me meet that part of me right now? How dare you challenge me to navigate my internal self to make sure that my external self stays in integrity no matter what comes up inside of me? Yeah. Now we're playing a whole different game. And what happened? We brought the feminine to meet the masculine. We brought and honored and paid attention to not only what wasn't being represented by the physical masculine words that were coming out of his mouth. I know that words aren't in physical form, but they start to take that words put the vibration out there. That vibration continued makes the form. Is a way that we can simplify it and put it down. Anybody who wants to get more scientific than that, please dive into it.
Spelling, right? Yes, exactly.
So the words that we say hold an energetic vibration. They're going to sync up with the energetic vibrations in you. And if the energy that's wrapped up is uncertainty, it's going to find the uncertainty in you and bring it up. What is happening is an empathic connection so that we can come together and compassionately love and support one another, not pick each other apart and have a fight over who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah.
What are we even doing if we're not being loving and compassionate?
That's right. That's right.
This is what I ask myself. What am I even doing when I'm not being loving and compassionate? What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Do you feel that we I forgot the name of it, but I'm trying to basically say when society does something, it's almost like somebody can start running and without even knowing what's going on, everybody will start running. Do you feel we have that when it comes to lack of compassion, or we see so many things that's happening around us energetically, the words that are coming out of everybody's mouth right at this very moment around the world, they're all not synced up. Maybe some are, but they're not. How do we get closer to that nirvana?
It's a great question. The first thing that comes to my mind is, first of all, recognize the fact that although what we get shown and highlighted is very negative, how much of your day-to-day experience is actually that? How much of your day-to-day experience is actually focused on negativity, bringing negativity, revolutionizing negativity? Like, if you really think about it, the majority of our days are spent in a place of pursuing happiness, peace, calm, thinking that way, feeling that way, desiring that, interacting with each other that way. We have, we'll say 80-20, right? 80% of our time pursuing peace, 20% of our time. Wouldn't you say that's fair?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You and I have very different lives, right? We have different perspectives. We've had different experiences. But if I was to look at my life, probably 80, maybe a little bit more than that, because I am pretty intentional. But who knows? Who knows what I'm blind to? Perhaps 80% of my time is really focused on betterment, peace, settledness. And 20% is, what the heck is going on? How are we going to solve this problem? I can't believe this is going on, right? Whatever that looks like.
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah, exactly. Here we go again. I am cursed. Yeah, exactly. Right. So if we're doing that 80-20, do you really think it's happening out there as much as what they want us to think or what gets highlighted?
Right.
Or is that side of things so weak in comparison to what creates it all that it had the only chance that it has to even try to catch up with all the goodness is to constantly be pumping it out?
Well said. That's right. It has to be pumped into us daily with music, TV, people. You're right.
So how do we solve this? We turn away from, not turn up our back to, turn away from, withdraw our attention from the things that are doing this and focus on what's happening right in front of you. What? Yeah. Disengage with what's happening out here and pay attention to what's happening right here. But what if I miss them? There's so much. But Snapchat and TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, I don't even know what people are into these days, because I have been turning my attention off of and paying attention to what's right here. Because in our inevitable ongoing pursuit of conquering, striving, whatever that outreaching thing is, we are not tending to, paying attention to, managing, stewarding, honoring what is happening right in front of us.
I like you said honor.
This is real, y'all.
Yeah. I like when you said
there.
Honor. Yeah.
Distraction.
Honor is a very powerful word to me. I use that word a lot because, and humility as well. But, you're bringing some serious insights. We're hanging out with Christy Key Rollins today, Funk from the Front Seat. She's always great. I love this woman. She's a queen and, one of my biggest fans, and you're one of my heroes. When we look at how many, I don't want to say that you would know this, but how do you think, how many shifts are we in this dimension going to have to continue to deal with until we try to have that one love, vocal vibe communication through our words?
Okay, so I'm going to propose it this way. Is there a time in history that you know of that you've been told about in which everything was settled?
Yeah.
Is there a great leader who's come through? I mean, Gandhi, Buddha, Jesus,
Yeah.
Mother Teresa, whoever, Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
Did that solve it? Did that stop it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if the name of the game isn't to solve it? What if we can't stop it? What if we always have to have the contrast? What if this is the place that the chaos happens? And what if the name of the game isn't how do we line it all up out here, but how do we line it all up in here? What if the kingdom of heaven is found within?
It is. Funkadelic said that.
Just
George
saying.
Clinton knows the kingdom of heaven is in.
What if we stopped and thought about these great leaders and we noticed that they never lost the vision because they knew it was within the realm of possibility. But the ones that were really great were the great showers how to beers, not the great tellers what to doers.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's
So
right.
we can go back to your question that you had asked before. How do we change all of this? Can we change all of this?
Yeah.
I say you start by changing your world and understand that your commitment to that not only is the highest honor that you can give your creator, that you can give your soul, that you can give yourself, the greatest gift that you can give yourself that simultaneously gives the greatest gift that you could possibly give outwardly to the world. It's so beautiful. It gives me chills just thinking about it. It's for you to commit to you freeing up what's happening inside of you, to you liberating the darkness, to you balancing that masculine and the feminine within yourself. Your commitment to that not only will have a ripple effect to every single person whose path you cross, no matter if you ever tell anybody else the right way to be or anything. If you just commit to you doing it for you doing it for humanity's sake, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Just imagine one commitment at a time. Imagine if one person in every city made that commitment. One person in every city in the United States made that commitment. One person. I'm in a different city than you right now. You got what I'm saying? Like we got 2 cities locked down, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. We got it.
How simple did that just become?
Yeah.
How profound of a difference. But that one person must be unshakable. That one person must be courageous and brave. That one person must take ownership and full responsibility to everything that they feel, think, experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which doesn't mean you take responsibility for the actions of others. That's a whole other realm. That's outside of your authority. But you have authority here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what if you put your attention here? I will tell you that no one told me to do this to get something. It's something that was presented that I was like, that's curious. I'll explore it. And that exploration changed everything in my life.
Yeah.
Changed everything. It made all the spiritual lessons, personal development, all the conversations like this begin to make sense on a completely different level. It allowed things to become integratable. And it is a bitter pill to swallow that you are the one creating all of your chaos and discord. But I know if I do it, y'all are probably doing it too.
And you're right. It's hard to imagine that I'm doing this. And then when you look back and then you try to pull out some of those lessons that are going to help you get through a certain situation. And you think about it later, like, yeah, I should have reacted this way, or I shouldn't have let this set me off this way. Why did this set me off? But you said something very important. The word liberation. Okay. Liberate to free up. But it's weird because liberating the darkness, it's almost like we encaptured our own darkness, our own energy, thinking about those own thoughts, doing all this other stuff, and we're keeping our own selves prisoner. So, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, we're keeping our brain prisoner.
I heard it best said, the darkness is just the light forgetting that it's the light.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And
so to liberate that mindset, I think is a step. And a lot of us light workers are doing that because Forgive me, I'm just moving around a little bit because I got like neck issues. So
No,
you
you're
see
good.
me squirming. Yeah, I'm okay. It's just, I've been going to
Clearing
therapy.
some throat chakra. That's
Yeah.
all.
I've been yes, you're right. Been dealing with a lot of stuff. I had a fall about 2 weeks ago, so it kind of threw me off a little bit. So I'm okay though. Yeah, you know.
All equal physical healing. Physical healing symbolizes energetic healing.
Okay.
So if you've processed it energetically, you have to process it physically.
Okay.
So pay attention to what got impacted. Pay attention to what part of the body. The masculine will lead you to the feminine. The feminine will lead you to better understanding the masculine.
Yeah. Well, I fell into a door, tripped over the thing at a 7-Eleven, and went head first plunging. Surprised I didn't get a concussion. And then I got up, shook it off. But, I went to the doctor. I'm going for therapy for my neck because my vertebrae, my C4 and C5 is a little weird. But I'm okay because, you know me, I'm built for this.
And
so,
when did this happen?
This happened about where I feel comfortable, So
You cut out again. When did it happen?
About 4 weeks ago.
About 4 weeks ago. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So interesting. 4 weeks ago, we were coming up to the summer solstice, which is what we're going to talk about today. And the summer solstice, it's a time of the year that happens every year. It's usually around June 21st, could be the 22nd, just depending on how the dates on our calendar falls.
Yeah.
But what is happening physically is that the sun, the path that we are on around the sun is actually at its highest peak in the sky, which gives us the longest day of the year. It's the day where the light outshines the dark to the highest degree that it will all year long on this one day. On June 21st is what it was this year. So there's 4 significant seasonal times that we recognize. We see the summer solstice, which is balanced by the winter solstice, which happens December 21st, which is when it's the darkest, where the sun's the furthest. So it's the darkest day. Then splitting that difference, these are all terms that y'all have probably heard of: the winter solstice, summer solstice. We also have the spring equinox and the fall equinox.
Yeah.
We'll save those for other conversations. But what starts at the spring equinox and goes all the way to the summer solstice is a period of resurrection energy. We hit that at a height around Easter, which a lot of us are, anybody who celebrates Easter, the resurrection Jesus story, all of that's very significant at the time, right? There's a reason for it. There's something energetically and something in the feminine unseen that brings about everything that we experience in the masculine. So this time period that we're going through right now is just balancing, honoring. So these conversations are what's necessary so that we can all tap into the energy and bring to balance what we're experiencing in the physical, so that we don't have to continue suffering to the degree that we do. Some argue that we're on our way to the next period of enlightenment, to kind of go back to your question,
agreed.
Jack.
Yes.
We have heights and we have lows, right? The dark ages, the enlightenment, right? Or at least this is what we're told, right? So a lot of us feel that we're heading into like a new renaissance, a new awakening, because it's time. It's just energetically time for that to be happening here on earth. This is all very cyclical. It's all very biblical. This all just has this repeating pattern, which is why I think it's worthwhile to at least explore it and give it a consideration.
Yeah.
So we have this energy, and what happens at the spring equinox is where the day and night is balanced. And from the spring equinox, we have 12 and 12 hours, right? 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness. So from the spring equinox to the summer solstice is where we start to get more light every single day until we hit the summer solstice of the most light. Then we start to go back down again until we hit that equilibrium again at the fall equinox. And then we go into the days of darkness that winter brings, right? It's darker. There's not as much sunlight. The energy is very heavy and weighty and slow, right? Again, we can talk about all of these, but today we're going to talk about the summer solstice.
Can you hold it right there before we dive
absolutely.
into summer solstice?
Absolutely.
So I can get my halfway point, get these commercials in. We're
Definitely.
hanging out with Chrissy Key Rollins, Phone from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV. Please, we appreciate your comments. Keep them coming in. You can always find us on Facebook. We got 2 YouTube channels now. We're on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Mark Lee. Make sure we get on all of the platforms that's out there. So please follow her. Information is down at the bottom. We're going to take a quick pause for the cause because I want to shout out some people and show a couple of commercials, and then you guys hang out. We're going to come back right on the other side, and Chrissy Key Rollins is going to get us knee deep into the summer solstice. I love to hear this man's voice.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check them out.
This is Joe Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. Just did a show with my man Zach. Number 9. That's right. Number 9's got it going on. Check out Funk from the Front Seat. Zach Robinson. Serious good vibrations, y'all. What we need. Peace.
Joe Keys, man, I love him. Joe Keys is so funny. I'm actually doing stuff with him, and his band is doing the Mandrill, and myself, Tony Cam, and Jack LB vocals for that. So it's really exciting coming up in August with the original Mandrill drummer, Funker Joe Santiago. So I'm looking forward to that, man. You know, I've been blessed with so much love and peace and harmony around me, even through the chaos. I have beautiful people like Chrissy coming on, and I could call her anytime, text her anytime, and tell her about my dreams and things like that. And we discuss a lot. And this woman right here, I'm telling you, she's brilliant. So if you're a light worker out there and you need to follow somebody, check her out. If you're not a light worker and you want to see what's going on and what Chrissy and I are talking about, as many others about, hey, this is the day of enlightenment. Start today. Today, change your mindset. We can start right now. Anything that we want to do, we can do it now. Try to overcome hurdles and obstacles within, like, liberate. That word is going to stick with me today, and I'm going to use that as my word of the day. Every day we have a word of the day, and liberation of my mind, and the darkness is just light waiting to be light. I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Chrissy Key, check us out. Tell us about this summer solstice and what we're in for.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to say one thing about liberation too. Often the path to liberation looks like restriction. So I'm just going to add that to the mix, because a lot of times people will think, oh, that's so strict. And no, that's so liberating.
Right.
Liberating.
Do you think that's a trick of the mind's eye? Like their mind's eye can't see it correctly?
Well, we're conditioned. We're conditioned for what's the immediate. Are you going to satisfy how you feel in the moment, or are you going to satisfy how you feel in the long run?
Right. We all.
I don't eat for the meal that's in front of me. I eat for what I have planned on the days in front of me.
Okay.
So it looks like I eat pretty restricted. How I eat is wildly liberating, because I'm not restricted later on by the ill effects of what I digest in the now.
Yeah.
Same thing will be clear. Will happen for you when you change how you digest what's getting served up by those around you.
Yeah.
And you'll notice where you're having indigestion.
Right.
Because you're going to want to stay away from those people or those situations, right?
Yeah.
Get that pushback. So let's
I
talk
wanted to ask you though, before you jump into summer solstice, you asked me what day I fell. What did that have to do with that?
Because of the time that we came into with the summer solstice. Now that happened on the 21st. We're recording this a bit after the 21st, but the energy doesn't just turn on and off like a light switch. It's not just on for the day and then off again. That energy builds, peaks, and then tempers again. So the conversation that we're having today is just as important as if we had it a couple of weeks ago. What happened 4 or 5 weeks ago is just as important as what's happening right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had nothing to do with my physical fall or nothing. I thought that somehow that was connected to it. Like,
So it can be, and that you are given this resurrection period, the energy that is right from the spring equinox to the summer solstice, that energy that peaks at Easter time, this resurrection energy. It is all about renewal, rebirth, dying off to how you've been and birthing forth who you ultimately are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So as we shed, let go, recognize, and the way we find what needs to be cast off is through the chaos. When you get triggered, when you react, when you make a decision too quick and it causes a series of downfalls, you learn who you are, have the opportunity to recognize what you're doing in a way that gets your attention more than just being like, hey, by the way,
Well, it got my attention, all right, because
exactly.
At 25, seeing the ground coming close, I didn't fear it. At 65, I was like, oh.
Because you've been down that path before. So
Yeah.
even just knowing what that impact's going to be like makes it different than the unknown.
It was in slow motion. Right? I was like, oh.
Right.
But anyway.
So we can see that. We can see that as, oh, here's more chaos, more suffering that's being handed my way. Or we can see that in order to be how you've never been before, healing has to occur.
That's right. That's right. And look at it from the flip side. You're right. So get into the summer solstice and really deep dive for my audience because they need to hear this.
Yeah. So on the day of the summer solstice, when the sun is the highest, what we experience on the physical realm, and this was celebrated by our ancestors, all ancestral history recognizes these heights, these times.
Right. That's right.
Winter solstice, summer solstice, the spring equinox, the fall equinox, they're wrought throughout any ancient history that you dive yourself into. So this is considered new age, but it's really old ways, right? At the time, what we experience physically is the day of the most light. So this was a time for celebration, the celebrating of the light. Also, for anybody who gardens or is a farmer out there, this is the time where the seeds that you planted back in the dark days of winter and spring start to break ground. You start to see, something's happening.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Where that's happening then meets the eye, right? And everything has its season and its timing. So the summer solstice was a time to celebrate the light, to celebrate the beautiful abundance and the fertility of the harvest that's going to come in the fall that we also celebrate at, right? And it is a time where we can reflect on the energy that we get from the sun, the way that the sun feeds us, nourishes, all the gifts that the sun brings to us. So we can pay attention and acknowledge that. We can also take this in and recognize the sun and the light that is within each of us. So not only to take time to honor the light that's within you, Brother Zach, but also to recognize the light that is within me. And in that light, when the sun is its highest, where does the shadow fall at noon?
Yeah.
There appears to be no shadow.
That's right.
The light is right overhead. So all those shadow aspects of yourself that show up around the clock, except for at noon, right? And at 6, whatever, right? You get where I'm going with this. All those shadows are gone. You can clearly see your brightness. You can clearly see your gifts. There is something that I would gather that you will take away when you reflect this information back over the experience that you've had over the last 4 weeks and the next few weeks to come. You'll probably start to see, if you reflect in your own life, whoever's listening to this, what upheavals happened over the last couple of months that has put you in a place that you wouldn't be if it wasn't for that upheaval, that showed you something about yourself that you might not have recognized if it wasn't for that upheaval, that brought you face to face with something that you've been denying or been keeping around that's time to go, right? All of it comes into light, this time energetically. That is the energy behind it. Earth and nature is reflecting it through the bountiful harvest that is promising to come. And we are experiencing it here as we get the time to honor and reflect on all the growth that we have been through. What seeds did you plant in January, February, March? What seeds did you plant for yourself to live into in this year? And how did the last couple of months really help you to clarify, line up with, show you what needs to go, allow you to do some self-pruning, allow you to cultivate something more from your experiences? I'm not a betting woman because I think all that's kind of weird and silly. But if I was, I'd put my money on the fact that something has shifted for you.
Oh, yeah.
And if you take time to reflect, you can move out of, oh, this is continuing my suffering, into, oh, this is liberating me from where I have been. So when we come to the summer solstice, it is a time and an opportunity for you to take good inventory of what gifts, what light do you have inside? What light are you holding back? What light are you not recognizing? What light is ready to shine forth? And as we step, I had just done this in I do a seasonal card reading, oracle card reading for my membership community. And I talked about the summer solstice with this card reading. And I remember in the video saying, when you went to sleep and you woke up on the 21st and you experienced that whole day of light, and then you went to sleep and you woke up on the 22nd, you have stepped into the second half of this year. You have stepped into the second half of living out who you are fully becoming in this year. You stepped into a new world. You stepped into a new version of yourself. We actually do that every morning whenever we wake up. It's just easier to tangibly connect to during this time of year.
That's right. Because every nighttime and every dream to me is a death. And not a bad death. It's just a death. Because we go to sleep. We don't know if we're going to wake up. We have no idea. We trust, like you said, we trust that we will. We plan to. We expect to. We make plans for tomorrow. But truth be told, we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a deep thought process unto itself. I guess because I'm getting older and wiser, and, fulfilling a lot of the dreams and goals that I have set for myself musically and so forth. My kids are fine doing their thing in college and one in high school. So I've been really blessed. When I look around, I'm trying to understand how I can give some of my goodness to people. One way is through the show, another way is through music. But I always feel like I want to do more. What do we do as light workers when we feel, and I know you feel the same way, you're always like, I got to do more because I'm looking and it doesn't seem to be working. What can we do?
That feeling, try this on for size, because I believe truth is a direct experience. You can only take my concepts that I offer over to you, or my truth as concepts, until you integrate them and try them. What if the longing to do more is actually your internal self asking for you to do more for you?
Probably.
What if you took every desire that you have that you want to extend outwardly to another person, and you just put your intention and your sole focus on integrating that into your life, to being how you've never been before, being what needs to be instead of what we're used to being, who we came here to be. But we can't change our lives unless we change the script that we are following. We're going to continue to have the same character set, everything. All of that changes when we change. And if you are living your life switching in and out from the heroine of the story to the victim of the story, you're going to have that contrast just wreaking havoc all through your life. When you commit to being the hero, regardless of the circumstances, then you stay committed to that character and you show up in a way that you are no longer afforded to do if you were to step into that victim space. That's no longer an option. It's no longer an option to defend and highlight all of my greatness. It is only an option to set aside what I need, open myself up to what someone else is saying, and actually hear them. Because when you do this, when you take that toxic negative person and you fill in the rest of the story, you are not only giving yourself a gift, but you're giving that person a gift that majority of people do not take the time to even consider giving to that person. And when you give them what it is that they don't even know to ask for and needing, you will get something from them that nobody else gets to experience as well. And it is just as glorious as the good stuff that's inside of you.
That's right.
And that's an amazing gift.
We're hanging out today, Funk from the Front Seat, Chrissy Key Rollins. We got about 15 minutes left, right? So I'm going to ask you a few questions because I'm curious as to how we can get our light workers to push in a direction that is positive for everybody, and still, like you just said, we keep our own fire burning. Because I know there's been several times this past month, and it's just me personally, where I was on empty. I was drained. I was just like, listen, I can't do anything other than just open my eyes, go through the process, come home and sleep. I was drained. And I don't know if that was the summer solstice, doing something to me. I did feel around that time when you said it, this change going on. And it seems like every couple of weeks I'm being enlightened even more. I'll listen to Asad Guru. I'll listen to Dolores Cannon. I'll go back and listen to Danica Patrick. She has some amazing guests. I'll listen to Billy Carson. And all of these people seem to be pointing us in the same direction that you are. Mm-hmm. Every religious text at some point that has any good in it has something to do with working towards the light. The stories are different, but it all comes down to the few that are actually in. A lot of mistruths in these Bibles and stuff. But there's a few truths that actually say, hey, try to get to that. And that's what I think I want to get my audience to work towards as a group, collective. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say the number one thing is to never underestimate how much you matter. Yeah. I'm going to say it again. Never underestimate how much you matter.
That's right. That's right.
How you feed yourself. The thoughts that you allow yourself to continue thinking in all of your rightness. How and if you show up, if you speak, if you share your truth, all of that matters on such a degree that even if you start doing these things solely and only with and for yourself, you'll make a profound difference in this world.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you commit to this path long enough, it'll hit a point where it takes over. Like, I don't have the choice anymore. There's no going back for me. I can't sit and wallow in self-pity and victimization because there's no space for it in my world.
Well said.
When you start to understand how much you matter, that is the only time that others and the world around you will begin to reflect it. So if you have that desire for others to know how much they matter, you have to stay committed to how much you matter. So all that little stuff that you can get away with because you're the only one who knows that you made that commitment, that you're going to get up and work out or eat differently or don't do that or start doing this, because you're the only one who knows it. All those places where you let yourself off the hook, you are perpetuating and allowing and choosing to stay committed to how you're used to being, not how you came here to be, which is fine because life will wait. Life is that great. However, just know the more you put it off, the more you're going to suffer. And it took a long time of me recognizing that I was choosing my own suffering before I decided to do something about it. So that's okay. That's okay.
Same.
What if you can't make it go faster? What if this is the fast track? What if you don't have to figure anything out? What if you don't have to do anything, but be willing to show up and continue to engage? If you get woken up, it's go time.
Yeah.
Until you don't get woken up, it's go time. That's your cue that it's time to go. And understanding the energy, honoring the feminine energy behind what makes up all this physical stuff. So we see the sun at its highest. We see people being crazy. When we can honor and bring in that feminine, we can start to change all of the experiences that we have. We can live more true, more at ease. It's just a more actual thing that's happening. I know that that's not what I was going to say. I got off track in my own mind, but
nah, you channel. I saw your eyes roll back. When they roll back, you're channeling. So go for it.
Yeah. Well, what what we experience in the physical, all of it's represented by the non-physical. And if that's the thing that flows through you, that's the thing that wakes you up in the morning. And as long as that is happening, that is your cue that there is more time and space and resources available for you. But the storyline never changes unless you change the storyline of what's happening inside. That's where it all comes back to every single time. And when you can expand your storyline to match your beliefs, that's where the magic really starts to happen.
Yeah. The amount of energy that it takes to fight off that darkness that is constantly trying to become the light. Do you think the darkness itself, the entity, the energy itself, is more powerful than, say, the average person trying to awaken their third eye? Because I talk to a lot of people. I drive Uber when I'm not doing music. I talk to a lot of people about awakening their third eye. And about how to know when to activate it, how to feel, use your body as a tuning fork. We're all vibrating. We're all touch base to the earth. We're all like, standing on solid ground, but yet we're floating out in space upside down sometimes, or whatever, right? Because we forget, we're on this plane, but in the grand scheme of things in the universe, we're a rock floating around like this. You know what I mean? And listening to a lot of my passengers, they don't really get how to operate that third eye. So maybe you could drop a little lesson on that real quick before you have to go, because I know we all have our third eye. The pineal gland is very important, and we put poison into it, and that's by design, so it can be closed off. But we need to make sure that it's opened up so we all can connect. The words that we use are very powerful. Professor Cornel West says that all the time. Beware of the words you use, because they're very, very powerful. So my audience out there, for you guys that are watching, man, just try your best to stay. Don't fall back or succumb to that dark that we all have traveling with us all the time, because like Chrissy said, it's really not dark. It's just light waiting to happen.
We can't have anything happen here unless we have contrast. I mean, this is the realm of contrast. It's how we learn. It's how we experience things. We don't have happy without sad. We don't have good without bad. We don't have up without down. We don't have light without dark. So whenever we start to separate those and separate light from dark, that's where we fall into a being divided against itself cannot stand. And Satana, the breaking of the serpent, happens, and Satan, evil, darkness comes in. So anytime that we're experiencing the darkness, it's the light and the two sides trying to find each other again. And when you can come back to the union of one, then everything else starts to fall into place. At least every time that I do it, that's what begins to happen and shift in my world. So this idea of the third eye, which is just that energy center that's in our body, it's located here at the center of the brow. It is the ability to see beyond what meets the eye, which is exactly what we have been talking about this entire time, right? Bringing the feminine into the masculine, bringing both and balancing both of those energies, seeing beyond, hearing beyond. Now, hearing gets associated with our third chakra. I always incorporate it also with the third eye, because what you hear determines how you're going to interpret the situation. The sound quality of it is going to connect to a thought in your brain over what that means, right? We've assigned everything meaning, and that's really our problem. We know too much. We need to empty ourselves out, become an emptied vessel, allow the light to fill us up. And from that point, we can better understand and interpret what's happening, because that's all that's happening anyway. The light fills you up. That's why you woke up this morning. The light fills you up. That's why you're breathing. The light fills you up. That's why you have that desire and that nudge on your heart. So we all have this in common, and we all have the ability to connect to each other and this world around us beyond what meets the eye. And there are certain things that keep this ability more dormant. There's a part in your brain that that is located right behind here. It's kind of in the shape of a little pine cone, and it's called the pineal gland. And it's been directly connected to our ability to see beyond, to connect to each other telepathically, to be able to just tap into that more that some of us kind of sense right on the peripheral of our life, but we're not quite sure exactly how to tap into it, or we're very intrigued by it, but it seems like it's for other people, not for us. It's because we all have that ability, but each of us, thanks to our society and what we do here, because remember, this place where the chaos happens, this isn't the place where you get the easy way. This is the place where you come to find your way.
That's good. That's good.
This is not where we come to please the ego. It's where we come to evolve the ego.
Why do you think we chose to come here?
Because we're crazy.
Yes.
We're totally crazy about this mission work, about liberating souls. I don't know. It might be a prison. I'm not sure. We'll find out one day, perhaps.
It's like some kind of like amusement park, but it's weird because there are no rules.
Yeah, I heard it say that we're like the Bronx of the solar system. We are. We are like the place where people do bad things to each other just to capture it on video and laugh at it. Like, that's crazy if you think about it from like the angelic realm. This is the wild, wild west. This is where we're at. Anything goes here. It's wildly exciting on a lot of levels, right? I mean, if we let the darkness take over, it could be quite the playground. But that's part of the whole thing. If we come here and we've got free will, we have to be given all the options, because you can't have free will and be signed up with what you're going to get. So there's always the illusion that there's an option. You always have the freedom to choose. I have just found I like the way it feels much better when I choose the light over the dark. Although the dark feels very satisfying momentarily, the dark lingers in that negative way that some foods linger in a negative way with me. So I just got to stay out of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pineal gland. There is a calcification that can happen. Please go do your own research. I'm not the be all end all when it comes to this. I'm just telling you what I know. Go do the research for those that can explain it better. It gets calcified. Things like fluoride, which is in a lot of our toothpaste, dental programs. It is in aluminum that's in our deodorants, on our cookware. All of that infiltrates and starts to do a number of things in our system. But part of what it does, it starts to calcify the pineal gland. We aren't taught about this. We can't actively, we don't actively exercise it like we do other parts of our body and disciplines of our brain and develop other skill sets. You know what I'm talking about? So this pineal gland can get calcified over, and it can make it way more challenging for you to break out of the moment, to see beyond what's happening. But if you do things like clean up the way that you eat, cleanse out your body, I got a lot of nutritional support options for anybody who's looking that route, or just even starting to pay attention to eliminate the fluorides, eliminate the aluminums, get that stuff cleared out of your diet and out of your personal care products. And then you may find it's a little easier to start to make some of these connections. You may find that all of a sudden you start to get visions, insights, and knowings on a more ready basis than you already do. I know you already get them. We're so connected. We're so gifted. We have so much inside of us that is just kind of tempered by society. Again, why? I don't know. We get good versus evil, light versus dark. This is the place that the chaos happens. I care less and put less energy towards why and how we got here, and more into how do I maneuver regardless of the how and the why. Yeah. I'm just in the here, as in the now, as much as possible. And that's where I invite y'all to consider exploring. We're so used to running ahead. What if you've run ahead for so long that you actually just need to stop and hold still for a few freaking moments so the rest of life can catch up with where you've gone energetically, where you've grown personally?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I've been saying that to every young person I meet. They ask me that.
And this is the fast track. It doesn't go any faster than this. If it went faster than this, you'd be in a coma right now. You wouldn't physically be able to keep up with the energy. Physical dense matter, we all know this, it's very slow, it's very heavy, it's very sluggish. It is the last thing to be created. When you think I'm hungry for lunch, maybe I'll get a pizza. It goes from that thought of pizza before it's ever physically pizza in front of you. That's a perfect example of how slow the physical goes versus the energetic, right? So we're energetically light years connected.
Yeah.
We're already at home base energetically.
Yeah, we are.
Which is why you desire to keep moving forward, because you're already there. And it's also why it feels like you should already be there. It's taking way too long. This should have already happened. You're way behind. No, you're always perfectly on time, but it's always going to feel like there's somewhere else to be because you're energetically connected to that place. And when you can trust the now to carry you to the there, and you can trust yourself to show up and take action along the way, then you can start to direct your energy to the here and now. You can start to pay attention to, are you honoring the masculine and the feminine, or are you just reacting masculine to masculine with all these physical outward displays, matching physical outward displays? And all of it you start to get more space. You start to get more room. You start to have more time, even though you can't slow down the timeline or speed it up. Yeah. So the name of the game to me is, how much can I relax into what is happening now? Yeah. And being relaxed doesn't mean not doing anything. It means reacting from the place that I'm at now, not from my past survival, I got to figure out how to make it happen self, and not from my future, I'm not there yet, slow the heck down self, but from right here, right now. What is the most honest thing that I can say and do? What best honors the gifts that have been bestowed around me and within me? What best honors the other individuals that are around me right here in this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment? And by allowing myself that space, something more comes through that doesn't have room when it's all clogged up with what happened before, what's going to happen next, how do I manage all these people and circumstances around me.
Right. I'm going to give you the last word. We're going to put you on full screen. You've been an amazing guest today. Thank you so much for hanging on Funk from the Front Seat. You come through every couple of months with some serious wisdom. Chrissy Key Rollins, you can find her information down here at the bottom. Please follow her. She's on Patreon and everything else. So you can definitely figure out right now that this woman is on a really, really super high level trajectory up. This is why I have her on all the time, so you guys can be enlightened out there. She's one of my favorites. I'm going to give you the full screen, and then we get ready to get out of here.
Now is the time. It's never been more the time. We are going through shifts. The world is how it's never been before. We all have been going through this shift together. If you're ready to learn how to move through this in a way where you can be up in it, but not made of it, where you can move through everything that you have to go through, but not be more scathed and burdened down than what's necessary, then I invite you to start to consider the unseen along with what you are seeing in this physical world. Start to challenge yourself or invite yourself to explore, how can we balance and bring in more of the story of what's not being shown, of what's not being said? How can I fill the gaps that others are leaving open externally that I feel internally? How can I begin to fill those gaps for myself? If you're into wanting to connect to the energy that's behind things, that is why it's calling to you, because there's more to the story. And just taking what we talked about here today, bringing it to work into your own life, challenging yourself to integrate these concepts, try it on for size. I say try it for as long as you've been doing what you've been doing. But in my experience, it will not take you but a fraction of the time to realize that this is a different and more enjoyable and easier way to navigate through life. And if you want guidance around it, there are plenty of people that are like me that are out showing the way. If you're interested in finding out more about what I have to offer and the guidance that I offer, I have an amazing membership community over on Patreon. on. Zach is scrolling down the information. You can just go to my website, holisticrestoration.com, or you can hop over to Patreon, CK Rollins, and get plugged in at the membership level that is right for you. Because one of the top things that has helped to facilitate the changes and that helps to keep me grounded, rooted, and on my path is keeping myself saturated with this way of thinking, to stay engaged in this as an ongoing conversation. Because if you hadn't noticed, not everybody's talking about this everywhere that we go. But to have a place that you can come back to, a community of like-minded people that are all committed to this same way of being in their own unique way. That's what I created the membership community for. And right now I'm taking everybody through a new earth energy school so that we can take common everyday struggles like procrastination, like rejection, like communication, and start to tap into the energy that's behind it. So that when these struggles start to occur, when you find yourself not doing what you thought you should be doing, you can understand what energetically is being extended to you so that you can engage with the more that lies behind in those unseen realms and begin to change the experience, not only that you have of yourself, but with the world around you. And what's so interesting is that when you change the experience that you have of yourself, your experience of that around you will naturally change. And as that changes, how others experience you changes. And you will find yourself seeing more of who you know yourself to be reflected by and from those that are around you. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. Share your thoughts down below. Come back to this video. Let Zach and I know how this information is impacting your life in positive ways, the changes that you see it make for you and for those around you. And of course, keep tuning in every week for all of Zach's amazing guests. Thanks so much for having me.
Yo, you've been amazing. I appreciate you. I'll text you a little bit later and we'll hook up about that crystal that I want to get from you, whatever, and figure out a time I can get out there. But thank you so much. Chrissy Q. Rollins, this woman is absolutely brilliant. I follow her all the time. I'm into everything that she's doing. And, you know, you guys definitely can learn a lot. And believe me, all this light work is we got to come together now. That's what it's about. Peace, love, harmony, you know.
We're always together. That's the thing. We got to remember. Like,
yes.
If we're all together in one spot, we're not doing anybody as much good as if, again, one person in each city, right? We all got to like man our position, our women our position. And yeah, we need to remember that all those longings, all those desires, it's us looking to connect to us. It's us looking to connect to that more that is there whenever we engage with that other person. When we start to really understand this energy, we can feel what we feel. We can honor the fact that it's just a sign of our remarkable, beautiful, caring heart, that we have a longing when we're away from those that we love being around. And we can recognize that we love how that person helps us to see ourselves. And then we can settle into that place. We can honor the friendship. We can just bring in the wholeness of the story and watch how that connection starts to just feel that much more palpable.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. And I'll get up with you. You're amazing. And
Absolutely.
Please follow this woman. And we get ready to get out of here. I got a few things to say, a few shout outs. And again, my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, was on vacation. So Mark, I need you back really, really soon. You guys have a great summer. Don't forget.
Miss you, Mark.
Summer solstice. Stay up on it. I'll talk to you later, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yo, she's awesome. She does her thing all the time. You know, when we talk about the amount of energy that it takes to get through a single day, to get up in the morning, you know, we thank our creator, we thank the sunshine, we thank our families, we thank the loved ones, you know, shout out, boo, love you, Christy. All the things that we do make us who we are. And for me, every time I have a guest on, I actually become a better person. So I want to thank you all for that. And for everybody that's staying active on the chat line, you guys are amazing. JTRP, P-Funk Radio, Gabe Gonzalez, I love you guys over there. Larry Funkster Jones, Robin Circle, the P, Philly Phil, get on the funk bus. Love what y'all are doing. And I see my girl Mian up in Detroit spinning some DJ stuff. I'm feeling that. HJ Entertainment, K&N Jams, love you guys. Tony Cam and the Funk All-Stars, Nappy and Funk Army, Oak City Music Collective, Diego, thank you. We got the merch out. Bro is dope. Afterglow, 92416, Q&A Entertainment, Brooke Clagic, Love Tea, Excess Energy Drinks, Patricia Dioria, Aquarius Rising Art, Curtis Wilcox, Georgia Funkavinci, who will have his own show on here. You know, Full Funk Vibe with Georgia Funkavinci on 9 on the Grind TV will be coming to you soon. as well as another show with Jen Vanderputten. You know, she's going to be digging in the earth and playing with the soil and doing flowers and things like that. So we get those two shows set up for you as well. We also got the Dayton Music Ohio radio show, which is on 9 on the Grind TV on Sundays at 3 p.m. And it's from Dayton, Ohio, and Ken, you know, and his beautiful funk family up there doing their thing. Dr. Brookenstein, of course, always working on the website. DJ Cocolino, Elizabeth in Ireland, I love you guys. And know that you guys are very, very special and important to me. Love yourselves out there because it's extremely important. When we think about how we focus on trying to do all the right things, you know, it's not easy. So, you know, just take it one day at a time, you know, and don't beat yourself up. Remember, like Chrissy Key Rollins said, this is the planet where chaos happens. So when chaos happens, and we chose to come down here on this playground, this ride, or whatever our mission was. Mine is music, whatever yours may be, art, or whatever, healthcare, whatever. You know, we got to remember we chose this. So we got to just stay in the light, understand our place, and peace, love, and harmony, tuning in, watching Funk from the Front Seat. That's the ticket. Boom, let's get out of here. Oh yeah! What came first? The funkin' on the edge.
The funkin' on the edge. What came first? The funk.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Maryland, DC, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York City, Long Island, Staten Island, Detroit.
You shall find
Ho!
true funk soldiers always got funk on
Minneapolis,
being in outer space, funking up the human race. Oh, man.
Louisiana.
And ponder.
What came first?
I wonder.
The funkin' or the egg?
I dropped down to party.
Snappy head so farther, yo.
Cause the funk won't hurt nobody.
Funk won't hurt nobody.
Come on, y'all.
Nicole loves that up in Colorado,
To party.
Oklahoma, California, Nevada, Hawaii, Samoans. You in the humpty.
Oh, yeah. Stop sitting in the barn talking out your mouth. Drop down.
We all want to drop down and get this thing right, yo. Canada, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Peru, Africa, Hawaii.
Drop down and party. The funk won't hurt you. Drop down.
Funk from the front seat, 9 on the Grind TV, yo.
Drop down.
Germany, where you at? I know I got a fan over there. Hit me up. Thank you. Australia, I love you all over there. Down under, Mike.
Hey, yo, check this out. It's always in my head. They said that
Don't forget,
funk was
funk,
dead.
not fight.
Why did they choose
What's up, Ohio? What's up, Brenda? What's up, Mookie? What's up, Patty?
sleep?
Ho, ho. Michael, XOTV, I'm loving you, bro. Club Funky and Club Funky ambassadors around the world. Special heads like this.
Blues, rhythm and soul. Everything new has got to be old. So get up off your feet. Chicken little fat.
Nothing but the funk, y'all.
Don't stop. As long as the wine keeps popping. As long as the funk keeps rocking. Until the cops come knocking.
Shout out to all the beautiful people out there.
Keep popping. As long as the funk keeps rocking. Until the cops come knocking. As long as the funk don't stop.
We'll see y'all next time. Funk from the front seat. It's been beautiful, yo. I'm loving it. Don't forget, love your